You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
It's hot in here. Hit it. It is actually very toasty in this room.
It's so hot.
When Cooom and I walked in after I had been signing for the last hour, I went, holy smokes. Toasty one today.
I felt like walking into a bathroom after someone took like a 1 hour long podcast.
Oh, I just forgot.
I look like I
forgot to put a fan on. Oh, it's just my mic's off, Aaron. Uh-oh, spaghetti. No one heard my lead.
It was a funny one.
Can they hear you? I think they can hear Cooom.
Can they hear Cooom?
Uh-oh.
They can't hear anything.
Juggle the cord.
Jiggle.
You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Hit it. Can you hear us? I don't know.
Keep talking.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to do it.
Is it working?
Testing my microphone. It's the thought it was working. It's working on our side. I completely hear it.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone said, let's go, Southpaw. Oh, people are talking just about the
love
intro
intro
in
number
general.
It's working.
It's
Better.
working.
Is this working?
Was it
We're
live
good.
the whole time?
There we go. Audio. No, well, we were live, but we weren't.
Right.
They couldn't hear us.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they
we
could
just
But
got
the
picked
mics just weren't working. So
You
people
turn
are
it
saying,
off, you turn it back on.
Chris, we don't use OBS, my friend, but I appreciate the suggestion. He says, if you're using OBS, go to inputs and click the audio input device and then switch them around. Well,
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we don't
We
use
turn
that.
them off and we unplug them.
Yeah, off and on again, the classic maneuver of everything. But my lead was, it's hot in here. There you go. It's a full news show in here right now. But welcome in, everyone. So Oilers Nation Everyday with me, Liam, because Tyler's taking his well-deserved trip. He's going everywhere, it sounds like. I think he's going to Idaho, which is a very unusual place to be like, I'm going to go on vacation to Idaho for fun. Any thoughts on his trip?
Yeah, I mean, Tyler always just kind of disappears to weird locations and wanders off in the woods. That's just kind of his thing he does in the summer. So I guess jumping in a vehicle and driving down to Idaho, a place that there's some good scenery there.
Yeah, he's golfing, but yeah, because he's so afraid of flying distances. Not afraid of flying, just the time it takes to fly.
I mean, after the amount of time you guys spent on the airplanes going back and forth from here to Florida, I would imagine someone like Tyler would want to fly for a while.
Yeah, so that's fair enough. Welcome into the Sports Closet Studio. 3 locations, Sherwood Park Mall, St. Albert Mall, and Kingsway Mall, where I'll be going later today to do some shopping.
What are you getting?
Well, it's my girlfriend's birthday is coming up, so I'm going to see what Sports Closet has to offer for me. Maybe some Oilers Nation merch.
Work clothes.
Yeah.
Clothes for your work.
Do you ever do that? Have you ever bought anyone Oilers Nation merch as like a gift for like a birthday or Christmas?
Oh
Something
yeah,
like that?
Oh, yeah.
definitely,
I feel very awkward doing it because it seems like I'm kind of taking the lazy way out, but I do buy it. I do
Yeah,
pay
people
for
like
it.
it,
Yeah,
like,
and people,
it's-
it's
we're
good
doing
stuff.
I've done both where I've been gifted and re-gifted my ON merch.
We're just paying. We're paying our own salaries. We're making the wheel spin.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously Coombs here he's on the Star Mechanical guest line. Star Mechanical is one of Edmonton's biggest locally owned and operated plumbing and heating businesses. They've been working within the Edmonton community for over 20 years, and many of the homes built over the last 2 decades have had their plumbing and heating installed by Star Mechanical. Visit starmechanical.ca to schedule an appointment and let them help you keep your house running smoothly. Oh yeah. How you doing, Cooom? I don't think we've had you on the show since the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of.
To be fair, I've not been on the show either since the playoffs. So how have things been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, there was that one where it was you, me, and Zach and Aaron. We were doing that one right after Game 7, and then I kind of just dug a hole and climbed into it and focused on the Toronto Blue Jays, which going from
Wasn't that the next day?
Yeah, we had to do that hangover one the next day. That was tough. We had to wake up for that, and then since then it's just been all right. Let's re-immerse myself in the baseball season that is going on right now, which has been not easy.
Yeah, to say the least. So
How about the anthem last night?
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
the anthem singer at the home run derby wound up admitting that she was
Drunk.
under the
and
influence
yeah.
of alcohol, and said,
Yeah.
"I've got to check myself in and figure this
Yeah.
out." So kudos to her for
It'll make a
taking that
great
step.
redemption story.
In
It
the
does,
moment,
good redemption arc.
tough luck in
Yeah,
the moment, but
that was
obviously
rough.
good that she's gonna go get some help there. Just on baseball before we dive into the Oilers stuff, just on what we're gonna do today on the show. We got a GM search. Zach Lang has an article up there right now, and Mike Gould put one out there recently too, saying how Jeff Jackson doesn't want to be the GM of this team. He keeps saying that. Doesn't matter how good he's doing. We're gonna grade Cody Ceci, which I'm sure you'll all enjoy, to lay on him a little bit more. We're gonna tier list. I think we're going to try and do this every Wednesday. We'll see what happens when Tyler comes back.
It's fun doing
it's a good
tier
one.
lists.
We're going to tier list every Oilers draft pick that has played one game for the Oilers since 2010. So I think there's like 28 or something like that. We'll play my game, Liam's game, but we've got a bit of a twist. It's more of a career path than Guess the Oiler. And then we'll do some news from around the league and a little bit of something from Betway too. But just on baseball, I have 2 things. We'll start with the negative part of it first. I need an explanation. So you can put a player on waivers and they can play for you in the same day, because that is exactly what happened to Kevin Kiermaier, correct?
Yeah.
And how's that?
So there's 2 different kinds of waivers. Like there used to be a completely different trade deadline situation in MLB where there was a trade deadline and then a real trade deadline. The second trade deadline was if you traded guys before that, they could still play in the playoffs, but they've made it just one trade deadline. And the other trade deadline used to have, before that, you would put a guy on something called revocable waivers, where other teams would gauge their interest and then they could trade for them. So what they've done is basically just sent every GM an email in the league being like, Kevin Kiermaier is available. If you want to take his whole contract, go ahead and do so. And if you don't, then he's just going to remain a Blue Jay.
Gotcha. So it kind of means it's just,
yeah,
it
was
is
just
what it is.
Officially putting him on like the trade block, but in a very official way where if someone said yes, they'd just grab his whole contract and that was it.
Gotcha. So just like NHL waivers.
Yeah.
Second thing, the Edmonton Riverhawks went kind of nuts at the MLB draft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did.
4 players drafted and
Boom.
1 signed. Is that right?
Yep. Ivan Bredhauer, guy hits absolute bombs. Was on the
7th
team
round.
last season, and then he left. He's like 6'6".
Wow.
Built
big
like
man.
he's got a big league ass. That's when you know baseball
Yeah.
players.
That's what
That's
it's
when
all
you can
about.
tell. Ryan, it's called
Magic.
Mogdeach,
Ah.
actually Mogdeach. But Ryan, he's an absolute stud. He's actually a buddy of mine. Gavin Smith, dude, Canadian centric. Let's go right
yeah.
there. This guy's absolutely tearing it up right now for the Riverhawks.
Is he a pitcher?
Yep. As well, he's like one of the best. I believe he was an all-star as well so far in
Cool.
the all-star game they just had. And then everyone's favorite,
Takeyoshi.
he signed with the Oakland Athletics. So I
Wow.
do believe that means he's leaving. So as the Riverhawks are getting good here and getting ready for the playoffs, are we losing one of our best
they
catchers
gonna-
and hitters? Possibly. Fan favorite? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Are they going to have open tryouts to fill out the rest of the roster? They're
Yeah,
losing
what are
like
they
5 or
doing
6 guys
Dude,
here now.
playing catcher would suck.
So hard in your knees.
Ugh.
Well, you see all the way the managers walk around that used to be catchers, and they're like
All the-
turtle walk.
Yeah.
But it's cool that now we're in year 3 of the Riverhawks and you're finally starting to see dudes get drafted. I remember telling Mogdeach, I can't wait to draft you on my fantasy baseball team. So give it a couple more years, and then hey, it's possible.
Yeah, it's great to see. I mean, the Riverhawks, I went on Canada, they sold out.
Yeah, that was a great crowd.
Great
That
crowd.
was incredible.
Edmonton has really supported them.
Every
and
crowd's a good crowd.
Yeah,
these days.
and call me crazy. No matter what city you're in, people just want to see a team that wins games. I
Yep.
know they didn't win a lot of games last year, which is a credit to them for what they do off
Thank you.
the field.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
just win games and people will come. It's entertaining to go to a baseball game on a nightly
And when
basis.
it's 30 degrees outside.
Yeah,
Build
exactly.
it and they will come.
Seriously.
Build it and they will come. Okay, let's get into some Oilers talk now. The Edmonton Oilers don't have a general manager.
This is true.
It's been a while. Obviously,
Do we need one?
Best
Yeah, I
offseason
know.
ever. No general manager. Starting to think it might be overrated.
There's a quick comment here from Naeem who said, "I'm going to my first Riverhawk game on Friday."
Hell yeah.
Pumped.
Ooh, let's
I
go.
think they're doing a
I'm going on
bobblehead on
Saturday.
Friday. They're doing a bobblehead on Friday, aren't they?
Yeah, dude, the promotions
Bobblehead
Riverhawks do. are
Promotions
nuts.
go hard.
Yeah, isn't every game a
Every
promotion on
single
there?
game is
Yeah.
themed.
How many games do they have?
Last year they went 18 and 36.
So it's like 54 games.
54
So
games
what's
plus
that?
playoffs.
20 something at home, 20,
Yeah.
27 at home.
27 at home. That's it. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Get out if you can, Riverhawks. Stingers have one more home game left, July 29th. We'll give away some tickets for that on Friday's edition of the show. But either way, back to the Oilers talk before I get straight into some Elks talk here. Big news coming out of the Elks. Chris Jones gone, people. Will we see a turnaround? No.
I mean, it can't get worse.
I mean,
it cannot get worse than the other game the other day. Okay, this is then we'll get in GM. That was absolutely brutal. What happened the other night?
I stopped watching after they signed that guy, McBethel Hall.
Something like that.
Bethel McCall.
McLeod Bethel
Bethel
Thompson.
Thompson. McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Where's Trey Ford? I want to be entertained. He was
If we're
good. He
gonna
won
not
them
win,
games.
give me
Bring
that.
back Ricky Ray. That's when times were
Honestly.
good. Ricky Ray was the
Steven
quarterback, and they were
Giles.
winning all the time.
Yeah, you're telling me, Cooom.
Mike Pringle, was that the running back? Yeah, I think.
I don't remember.
Somebody chat, let me know. GM
Yeah, Mike-
search.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
GM search. Yeah, so the Oilers
Yep.
don't have a GM. You probably wouldn't know because they've had the best offseason out of everyone right now in the NHL. Things are going great. Obviously, Jeff Skinner, Victor Albertson in free agency. Traded Ryan McLeod for Matthew Savoy. Other trade they made the other day, traded away Xavier Bourgault, and Jeff Jackson has done all this. Our pal Zach over on Oilersnation.com just wrote an article today on a look at 5 realistic candidates who could be the next general manager of the Edmonton Oilers. So we'll discuss them, the 5 of them. Jeff Jackson is obviously on this list. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Jeff Jackson is a legit candidate on this? Because I think we all want him to be a candidate. He doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people have just sort of been like, this has been a great offseason. Why don't we just maintain status quo? That's actually kind of what I thought coming into this offseason when it became clear that Ken Holland was going to move on. I sort of wondered if Jeff Jackson would just put himself in charge and tell both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were signed. But then, of course, you think about it and you have the problem. Those two obviously want to know who is ultimately going to be the GM. And we've all thought Jeff Jackson, like, he's done a great job thus far in this offseason, but he keeps saying as well, like, it's been, 3 different times now he said he doesn't want to be the GM. He's
Yeah.
going to hire somebody, but I don't know. Like, everyone's kind of just accepted him doing it, but it does
Yeah.
ultimately feel like he just wants to be doing big picture stuff.
Yeah, I just think this isn't. He didn't come on to be this role, did he, when he
No.
was first hired? And I think the best part about all of this is one of these other 4 candidates, if they get it, whoever it may be, the standard is now there. Like, Jeff Jackson has come in and basically been like, this is how you run an NHL team when Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are on it. It's a damn shame this didn't happen 5 years ago. But here we are with it.
I just want a ventriloquist dummy that Jeff Jackson pulls the strings of, who sits up in front of the media, takes the bullets while Jeff does all the actual work. Dude, sign me up for that. Sign anyone up for that.
Well, I think this next candidate would take a lot of bullets, and rightfully so. Stan Bowman. Obviously, a lot going on with what happened with him in the Chicago Blackhawks during his tenure there. In my opinion, a bit of an overrated general manager. I know he won 3 Stanley Cups, and that is not something that you just roll over in bed and it just happens, right? Like, he did a good job there, but Dave Talon kind of put that team together to start with. He had some pieces here and there to kind of continue it all. But to me, his work is completely irrelevant because of everything that happened in Chicago. And it just seems so dumb for the Oilers to want to bring someone like that into the organization after all the positivity they've had throughout the playoffs, the off season right now, and just the vibes around the city are so good surrounding this team. And bringing in a guy like Stan Bowman would just put such a dampener on it. Like such a smaller scale in terms of the name, not of what they did, but like when they brought in Jake Virtanen, this city was furious at that PTO move. You're going to really bring in Stan Bowman to be your general manager? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the Oilers have kind of been the place where players come for a second chance, right? There's obviously very different levels of that. There's Craig McTavish, who, had his driving incident, of course, many years ago back in the 80s. You have somebody like Evander Kane, and then on a different level, like a Zach Kassian, who came back after his issues with addiction and this and that. But at some point, this is a tough one to swallow. Like, you justify people coming back for their second chance, third chance, whatever the chance winds up being. But this is a really hard one, because this is somebody who was in a very important position of power within an organization and allowed pretty shady, negative, bad things to happen. And the Blackhawks had to pay the price for that for quite some time. And you wonder if, given the spot the Oilers are in right now, like you said, things are going really well, and this is kind of a pivotal time for the organization. Do you maintain this momentum from your great run? Do you sign your two great players? Do you keep everything going positively? And I'm just not sure that Stan Bowman's work in Chicago is good enough, even if you don't consider the whole other baggage that comes along with it. I don't know if you look at his tenure with the Blackhawks and then think, like, he has to be such a good general manager to compensate for what drama is going to come with that and the negative vibes that come with it. To me, I don't think it makes sense.
And also, too, after the dynasty ended, he didn't really do a good job.
No.
Like, Seth Jones comes in, Tyler Johnson, you kind of just get these guys on big deals, and it just didn't go well at all. There's a reason Chicago's as bad as they are today, and it's pretty much because Stan Bowman put them in that position.
Yeah.
And granted, like, coming out of it is difficult as well. And like, you have to re-sign guys like Seabrook and Taves and Keith and Kane. Like, you kind of owe it to them a little bit to give them money. But either way, I just don't think Stan Bowman should be considered for this job. I don't think he should be considered for an NHL job, quite frankly. I think his career in North America should be over for what he did. I think it's wrong.
Not enough time has passed, for sure. Like,
no,
there's stuff.
That's pretty fair, Liam.
There's stuff in there's stuff in Zach's article where he says Bowman's done a lot of work with. This is a quote from Sarah Valley. He's done a lot of work with WHL teams and players over the last couple of years with Sheldon Kennedy and the Respect Group. Of course, we all know Sheldon Kennedy's background with what happened with him. So I mean, like, it's nice that he's doing that, but it's also only been a couple of years. Like, to go and show up and be do the work for 1 or 2 years. That's something that's nice. It's good that you're doing that. That you deserve a pat on the back. But to say that you deserve to again now run an NHL organization, this is a bit different than a second chance. This is getting again to go to the top of a marquee organization in a marquee situation. And it's not, are we saying, can Stan Bowman never have a job in hockey again? It's, can he have this? What example are you really setting if you can get into this marquee spot after just a few years? Yeah,
I think that's a good way to put it as well. It's like, hey, like, credit to him for trying to redo the wrong, but you're never going to undo it. What you did was terrible.
That's a great point, Cooom. Just that this team was one game away from the Stanley Cup. So much good has happened. You just made a lot of sense there. I don't think his track record's good enough for him to get this opportunity after all that. And enough said.
There we go, Davin. Being GM of the effing Oilers is a privilege.
Damn right.
Yes, sir. Next on the list, Mark Hunter. What's his brother's name? Dale Hunter. Dave? No, I think it was Dale, wasn't it?
Dale or Dave?
Yeah. So for people who don't know,
Hunter.
Mark Hunter is a member of the London Knights. That Hunter family has basically just ran the Knights for a long time. London Knights, fantastic organization in the OHL. Whatever you kind of think about them, they've won it basically all. So you cannot underestimate what he's done. Worked in the Toronto Maple Leafs front office from 2014 to 2018 as their director of player development for the first 2 years, and became assistant general manager for the final 2 years. Zach wrote in his article, Jeff Jackson has always been a fan of Hunter, not the mascot, and it being an option for the Oilers in the past, he could make sense as their next general manager. I think that's not such a bad idea to get him in. He's not young by any means. And I know that's something that kind of the NHL has turned into a little bit is you go into someone who isn't that experienced. So usually like Dan Briere, Kyle Davidson kind of age, nothing. We'll call them the spring chickens of general managers.
That's in all sports right now. Like NFL,
yeah, it really is. People just want the young guy, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. John Chaika didn't work.
No, it didn't.
Mark Hunter, I wouldn't hate the idea. Like I said, he's had a lot of success with London. Working in Toronto isn't an easy task either. And whichever way you want to look at it, Toronto not winning games in the playoffs when they really need to. They've been consistently good for numerous years. They're always going to be a playoff team with that group in there. And Hunter was around for that kind of era of bringing it through. So do you like the idea of Mark Hunter? It sounds like he's actually probably one of the front runners.
I don't mind this idea. I prefer this one to the last candidate we just talked about. The stuff in Toronto, I don't think there's much relevance to what he's done in the NHL because it was him and Kyle Dubas as the assistant general managers to Lou Lamoriello, and there was always an argument like, is this a Lou move? Is this a Dubas move? But there really wasn't even an assumption that moves were made were Hunter. I think he was more involved in the draft. And the Leafs it was a bit of a mixed bag of results during that time, but they did have some successful picks. I think that Hunter would work nicely in tandem with Jay Jackson because if Jackson's handling bigger picture things like negotiating a contract for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, things like that, then you have a GM here who knows the Canadian Hockey League, the OHL specifically really well, and who can focus on getting your drafting and developing into a spot where you constantly have a pipeline of inexpensive entry-level contract players around those two.
And the Oilers did just draft Sam O'Reilly, who is a London Knight. Okay, let's take a look in the Greta chat and see what people are talking about.
I'm down for Mark Hunter. I think I'm down.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think that he's got a good track record of finding young talent and finding to make it go. And one thing that we've lacked here in Edmonton for quite some time is developing homegrown talent. So he does have a track record. I don't really care about him with the Leafs for that bit because of the points you just made there, Coombsy, but I think he's in my upper echelon of candidates.
Michael in the Facebook chat said, Mark, Dave, and Dale are the three brothers.
Right. That makes sense.
We were all right.
Yeah. Sergeant Battle. I'm a fan of Hunter as a GM. We even traded up in the draft to get his guy. What else are we going here? Not a ton on Mark Hunter. A lot still on Bowman, rightfully so. Braden Showtime said, how about Sean Skorkoff? Well, Sean Horkoff is on Zach's list as well. He's been working with the Detroit Red Wings basically since Ken Holland left. Had some, I believe, managerial experience too in, I was going to say Anaheim, but maybe that's just where he ended his career. Do you remember?
Yeah, that sounds right. It was either Anaheim or Dallas.
Yeah, one of the two. I know he played in both those places, but I'm sure he played
one of those two. But I remember, I mostly just remember him with Detroit. He was after Pat Verbeek went to Anaheim because Pat Verbeek was the assistant to Steve Yzerman. Then Sean Horkoff moved up from a player development role.
Right. So right now, Sean Horkoff is, like you said, in the player development, or was with player development with the Detroit Red Wings starting from 2016. So maybe he's just always, just with Detroit. Also did a little bit of work with Little Caesars U14 AAA squad. He was assistant coach.
Well, where else would you want to start? Of course, there it
is. So player development from 2016 to 2022, got promoted to director of player personnel and assistant director, and is now the general manager of the Grand Rapids Griffins and the assistant general manager of the Detroit Red Wings. Now, like we were kind of talking about before, you get your Dan Briere who come back to Philly, those kind of guys. Steve Staios was linked with the Oilers heavily before he went off to the Ottawa Senators. And now you have Sean Horkoff. No experience as an actual GM, but a lot of experience in other roles within the front office. How old is he now? Probably
early 40s.
45. Obviously made a career of it here in Edmonton. Captain of the team. Would you welcome back Skorkoff? Do you think this is the right man for the job, or do you think it should be someone with a bit more experience?
Yeah, I think I'd prefer somebody with more experience here. Like Horkoff's only been in Detroit for a handful of years, and they've been in this sort of perpetual rebuilding state. So it's sort of hard to judge the work that him and Steve Yzerman have really done there, of course, because he's also kind of new in the assistant general manager role. Pat Verbeek only left a couple of years ago to go to Anaheim. So we're talking about somebody who has experience in player development, and then as an AGM doing the AHL team. It's a pretty similar profile to like what Keith Gretzky has here, but even less experience than that. So I don't know. I don't think this is really the answer for the Oilers. It'd be somebody where you have a young GM and it's very obvious that Jay Jackson is kind of leading the charge, and this is somebody younger who's learning what to do.
I agree. And I think an interesting part of this is he was the director of player development, and what players of the Detroit, so 2016, what players of the Detroit Red Wings developed outside of their 4th overall pick in Lucas Raymond and their 6th overall pick in Moritz Seider. There's player after player after player, and this is on Ken Holland too, that just haven't panned out for them. They don't really have that pipeline of guys that we were so used to when you had like your Zetterbirds, Daxuks, Cromwell, basically anybody they drafted seemed to come up and play a good amount of NHL games for them. But look through here, like Joe Valeno, 232 games, 64 points. Philip Zadina, 262, 91 points.
Tons of draft picks too.
Tons.
Like 2019, they had 3 second-round picks. They had 3 second-round picks again in 2020. Like all kinds of draft picks. And you look at 2019 draft, only 2 guys played a game, and that's a 6th overall pick. 2020 4th overall pick played. Nobody else has yet. Like, yeah, that's not really a great record.
And this is a team that has not been good. And they should be able to give those guys a chance to go and play.
I think.
A couple of guys put in here. Jake Wallman. Jake Wallman was drafted by the St. Louis Blues and traded to Detroit. And then someone else put to Braden again. But Alex Lyon were developed by the Lions. Alex Lyon was 30 years old when he made his NHL debut.
He was in Florida for a few years before that too.
Yeah,
Philip Hronek's done well, but he started to bloom in Vancouver.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
Yeah,
their director of player personnel couldn't determine that Philip Hronek was going to be a good player for them. So I don't know. The Oilers have struggled for so long, having players come through their system and become NHL players and identifying who those guys are going to be. Now it seems like they're in a bit of a rhythm and able to get those guys coming through more consistently. I know it's a bit of a slow burn with some of them, like Broberg and Holloway in a way. More Broberg, I suppose, like kind of shining now, but I just don't see how Korkhoff is going to come in and do a better job than what the others have already been able to do. Which brings us to our next candidate. With all that said, Keith Gretzky. Now, obviously, everyone's going to look at this and be like, Gretzky, like we can't have another one, like it's just the old boys club. But when you look through at what Gretzky's done for this organization since coming in, I can't remember the year he came in, but whenever it was, he's done a pretty good job. It was 2014, sorry. Done a really good job of 17 of developing players, getting them to the Oilers. A lot of guys who were on the roster last year spent time in Bakersfield with Keith Gretzky and under his leadership. I don't hate the idea of Keith Gretzky getting the opportunity, because if you take away his name, he's probably a good enough candidate. Just call him Keith.
Yeah, it's obviously the Gretzky name that gets him into this situation in the first place, but how he's performed in the role, I think there's validity behind what he's done. He's done a good job.
It's a Zach Hyman argument all over again.
Yeah, it's that all over again. But Gretzky in that role, like I think him working together with Ken Holland. One of the things that was really good about this era was that the Bakersfield Condors turned into more of a real thing. Like, remember years in the past when it was the Springfield Falcons or the Oklahoma City Oil Barons. Outside of those years where there was Taylor Hall and Eberle and Justin Schultz all playing at those levels, there weren't very many quality players coming up in the minor leagues. And now you have stories like we've signed Vincent Desharnais to a minor league contract and started him in the ECHL, brought him all the way up, and he became a serviceable third pairing defenseman. That wasn't really happening much for the Oilers in the the 2000s and the 2010s. So that's a credit to Gretzky and Holland. So it's, I think, a reasonable thing to think if you just wanted to maintain pretty much the exact status quo that it's been in the past handful of years. Holland leaves and Keith Gretzky moves into his spot. And then still, again, I think Jay Jackson's going to play a big role in a lot of big picture stuff.
Ventriloquist body double. That's the guy. We just got the answer right there.
Exactly.
Keith Gretzky, he's got the name value. He's been around the sitch enough. Maybe that's what I want. With JJ pulling the strings.
A couple of comments on Gretzky in the chat. Keith Southpaw had a couple. Keith Gretzky joined the Old Boys Club through nepotism.
Bronny James doing it, joining the NBA.
Yeah. Naeem said, I don't think we've done a great job in Bakersfield recently, makes me hesitant. I would say the last couple of years are definitely more of a retooling stage for Bakersfield to try and get more prospects in. But it wasn't too long ago that they were literally the best team in the league and they were winning. Yep. I know it was guys like Tyler Benson leading the way, but you look through, Tyler Benson played almost 40 games. You
got to have a good AHL team, right?
Yeah,
even if it's Benson and Marody leading the way, it's still it's still good for your prospects to play on a competitive team.
Vincent Deane, like you said, Ryan McLeod came through there, Stuart Skinner, even like guys like Lavoie. I know he's only played 7 games, but like back-to-back 20-plus goal season. Holloway, Broberg,
they both had to go up and down a few times.
Yeah, I mean, now we're kind of digging a little bit, but like Marcus Niemelainen has come up and played serviceable games for the Oilers. I know he's a 3rd-round pick, but either way, like, I don't think Gretzky will get it, but if he did get it, I would actually not be disappointed at all. But let us know before we move on. We're going to move on to the tier list right now, but put in the chat who you think the Oilers' next GM should be. Maybe there's some candidates that we didn't talk about that you want to hear from, but let's move on to the fun part of the show. That took way longer than I thought it was going to, by the way, so my bad.
That was real hockey talk, though.
But that was a showed for giant question. Tired of dealership hassles?
Of course. Hate it.
Sherwood Ford and Sherwood Park is all about convenience and upfront pricing with a great deal giant deal program. Get clear, no nonsense pricing on new and used Fords online with all incentives included. I should have read this before. Plus, enjoy the ease of mobile service, free pickup and delivery, and same day or next day service appointments. That was your Sherwood Ford giant question. Who should the Oilers' next GM be? I'm going to say Gretzky. Both of them. Do you know he actually was the GM once?
I
kind of forgot about
Gretzky
that.
Hunter.
He was the GM after Chiarelli was fired, right? He was the interim GM.
Yeah. So would he have done the rest of the season?
He was the one who technically signed the Mikko Koskinen contract at that time, and I think he might have made some deadline deals, but I can't remember what.
No, I don't think he was Koskinen.
Was he not? No, that was Chiarelli before he left.
And then they fired him like the next week.
Yeah, that's right.
He was his one last kick to the nuts on his way out.
God damn it.
Honestly, when I was watching Jack Campbell, I was yearning for Mikko Koskinen.
He's got the size, man.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. Okay, let's move on to the tier list brought to you by Spring Financial. Unexpected expenses always show up. Guess what? You can borrow money for those unexpected expenses right from your phone and receive an e-transfer within hours. Spring Financial offers personal loans from $500 up to $35,000 with no stress or branch visits ever. Apply in 3 minutes at springfinancial.ca/ONE. That's springfinancial.ca/ONE.
Looking for the fastest personal loan in Canada? Well, look no further. Spring Financial offers fully online personal loans with zero stress and no need for branch visits. But don't take our word for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Spring Financial.
Thank you very much.
Spring Financial is the best.
Apply today at springfinancial.ca.
There you have it.
Damn.
Spring Financial.
I like it when we get ads on the show. It makes me feel... I don't watch them before him. So shocking. I know. He would have thought Liam doesn't read the ads, so watch them before.
It's a perfect time to like rub your head. Like if you got like an itchy head or like you got to itch your nose.
Have a sip.
Wipe the sweat off you when you're at Greta and you get 15 seconds. Yeah. All right, tier list.
Yeah. Do you have the link I sent you? Okay. So can we get that a little bit bigger if we can? So here we go, Cooom. So this is what we're gonna do. We have 5 categories. I need to know if you want me to add another one before I get any when I read through. So the top one, franchise hero. This is obviously guys like Connor McDavid. Good pick. Stuart Skinner, for example. We'll see. Guys coming through the system still. What happened to that guy? Because I feel like we're going to have a few of those come through and then just disaster. Do you think there needs to be another category between good pick and we'll see? I was thinking good NHLer, so NHL like, career or something like that.
Yeah, like serviceable NHL journeyman.
Yeah, maybe journeyman's a good one.
Yeah, I'd like journeyman there in the middle. It's kind of the same. It's kind of a nice little.
But we'll keep. Where do you want it?
Or like trivia question answer.
Trivia. That's a good one. Do switch good pick and we'll see. So put good pick above it, and then between them, put maybe put right. I don't like right pick. Didn't pan out. Sorry, Tim. Everyday NHL. Just put. Actually, don't put that because there's a few in there that I want in that category that aren't NHL. Just put NHL.
Boom.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Okay. Our first choice, one Oscar Klefbom.
I mean, I think he would actually be in franchise hero if he had been able to play for as long as he
close.
did.
It's close.
So the first round that year was the Oilers got Nugent Hopkins and then Klefbom at 19 after trading away Dustin Penner. I mean,
to LA.
Yeah. So I'm going to say good pick. It's very obviously unfortunate. He's only 30 years old and no longer playing in the NHL. Kind of sad.
You can't be franchise hero if you couldn't
No.
finish it.
He didn't play enough.
He would've,
He's
though.
close though. He was on the
He
path,
would've.
like the key goal against San Jose in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Could make a category. I think about you every day. Just put Klefbom in there.
Played for almost 400 games for the Oilers. Okay, next one. Do you recognize that face? Can you see it?
I'm trying to. Is it Curtis Hamilton?
It is Curtis Hamilton. I mean, I think this could go in disaster or what happened to that guy.
I'm going, what happened to that guy?
Yeah, what happened to that
But he
guy?
was the 33rd overall pick or something like that.
Yeah, he was their
He was a
first
second round pick.
Yeah, he was selected. He was their third pick in the second round that year. It was in 2010, the year they blew it up and they were drafting Taylor Hall first. They took Tyler Pitlick, Martin Marinson, and Curtis Hamilton. Hamilton was the third of those three.
Played one game for the Oilers. I just looked this up the other day. San Jose Sharks played one game, got a 5-minute major within the first 2 minutes against a guy I actually don't even know who it was. But I
That's
think
a stat line.
He was in a rough era though. Like when I was talking a
Yes.
few minutes ago about Holland and Gretzky doing well with Bakersfield, this is because back when he was in the AHL, he played for like 6 different coaches over his tenure with like the Barons and whoever else that would have been. So those are rough times. I'll put him in whatever happened to that guy. That's reasonable.
So played one game for the Oilers, got a 5-minute major, and then literally left North America.
Honestly, this category was made for this guy. What happened to that guy?
Have you met this guy?
Yeah, he played for the Belfast Giants when I was living there.
So we
talked about his time with the Oilers, and he was like, "Oh, like I feel bad. I was a high draft pick. Like I should have been better." And I was like, "Man, you played for like 6 different coaches. Don't beat yourself up."
Yeah, I played for the Belfast Giants in 2020 and the Manchester Storm, which is my hometown team. Okay, moving on. Dylan Holloway. I'm actually going to put him in, and I guess NHLer is fair, but also I want to put him in. We'll see.
Yeah, we don't know if he's a good pick yet. If he gets hurt and flames out, then you kind of look at him the same way as like Kyler Yamamoto or something.
14th overall pick. 13th, 14th.
High pick.
We'll put NHL.
I think
He's an
playoffs.
NHLer for sure. Like we know he's
He's
an
not a
NHL
good pick yet.
Yeah.
He's well on his way, and I do believe he will be, but we're talking about what have you done?
Yeah, what have you done for me lately? Actually a lot in the playoffs. Philip Broberg, I think is that next one. Same one.
Category, yeah.
Raphael Lavoie.
Those guys could be brothers.
Really, those two I think are just going to be so attached.
They're twins.
From a fan perspective. Oh, there we go. That's perfect.
The Holland twins.
You just can't. I'll just go like that.
Yeah, that's fine. So the next one, Raphael Lavoie. We'll see. This is obviously going to be a big year for Raphael Lavoie. The Oilers. Do they need him to pop? I would say no. He needs to pop, though, if he wants to make a career of it in Edmonton. But very good career so far in Bakersfield. 28 goals last year, 25 the year before. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Ryan McLeod.
It's an NHL.
Good pick. You think?
No.
Yeah, he's a second round pick, so that he's an NHLer with a second round pick. Then I think you can say that's a good pick.
Good pick. Traded him, got a better player.
Because the other two guys are higher, so your expectations are a bit higher.
I want NHLer.
Let's have a look.
Because
Did any one of us miss him or care when he just got traded?
But he was an everyday. He's
I'd
an
miss a good
everyday
pick.
player for a second round pick and
But
for a
every
team.
day to me means NHL.
Like who's behind him that if you look at it, you're like, oh man, they should have.
I got too many tabs open.
I'll look at
I'll pull it up.
Like when you go back and look through second round picks the Oilers have placed, not one. The last second round pick to play over 100 games for the Oilers was 2010. Tyler Pitlick or Martin Marinson. Before that, Anton Lander.
There just aren't better.
Vote in the poll.
I'm looking at the second round. It's not like there's a bunch of guys picked in the second round that are better. We're looking at after Ryan McLeod, there's like Jack Drury. He's fine. Martin Feverhavy, that D-man in Washington, however you say his name. Sean Dursey's a good player. That's like the list. I think it's a good pick.
I think it's a good pick. Well, put it in the poll. Leave him up.
I got to cook it.
Yeah.
Let's let him marinate.
This is tough.
We'll go back to him. Me. Going back down here.
Well-
Yamo.
I don't even. You can't really call him an NHLer because he only really had when he after he left Edmonton. It's just one season with Seattle, and they didn't qualify him after that. So I'm like,
I might be incredibly harsh on this.
think so?
I think he might be a disaster.
Damn.
I know the wording of it is extreme, but you had a 20-goal guy who right now, I believe he played American League games last season, might get a PTO this year. At best, he's going to get a PTO.
You know, I could have asked you right now, what happened to Tyler Yamamoto?
Yeah. Sorry, he didn't play American games last year, but he only played 59 games and scored 16 points.
Healthy scratch a bunch of times down the stretch.
I'm going to say disaster. He was a 22nd overall pick. You want that guy to be a consistent NHLer, and Jake Ollinger was picked 4 spots behind him. That would have been awesome.
Okay, you say disaster.
I'm saying disaster. I think people in the chat kind of agreeing to an extent. Fighting Army said disaster. Lance is saying what happened to that guy.
There's good picks behind him. Like it was a pretty solid draft that year in 2017, but they did get solid production out of Yamamoto. Like when they called him up in 2019-20, he was really effective.
The ride, dry Kai line.
Yeah,
I'll always have that.
He had some pretty good years, so it's it's a weird spot because it's like he's not really an NHLer anymore, and he didn't have he only had 303 games in the league, and it's hard to say if he'll play another one. So
all right, where are we going?
I put him in NHLer. I'm soft.
We'll do what happened to that guy. Because really, what happened?
No, you put him in disaster. Go ahead and put him in disaster.
Let's
do it.
Hooray.
It's a good talking point.
Somehow Yamamoto got placed lower than Curtis Hamilton.
McLeod's currently
It's about
an
expectations.
NHLer.
Yes.
I'm going to let McLeod go for 5 minutes, then we'll come back.
Okay, Stuart
Stu.
Skinner,
Good
franchise hero.
pick. Franchise hero.
No, good pick.
We'll
do this in a year, and I bet he's there.
If they had won Game 7, he would be.
Oh, totally, yeah. You have
Oh, yeah.
A third round-
Everyone on this list would be.
a third round pick. Your starting goalie, top 12, top 15, above league average. I don't think he's far a franchise hero, but also the guys we're going to put in there.
Yeah.
He's not on that level.
He's got to get the trophy first. And then
Yeah.
put him in there.
Yeah. All-star, though.
Yeah.
NHL All-Star
He's
for
close.
whatever
He's getting
that's
there.
worth.
He's on the path. He's one of a handful of guys on the team who are like really on the path to being like icons.
Yeah. You recognize that one, Aaron?
Nope.
Dmitry Samarukov. See, I am going to put disaster for the sole reason of his NHL debut.
Oh, yeah. The -2 against St. Louis. And then they traded for him.
He traded Klim.
Yeah, Klim cost him for Samarukov like months later after that horrific debut.
Yeah, he was Clem's buddy, right?
Yeah, they played on the Russian World Junior team
and they got traded for each
Klim
other.
texted him.
Yeah, like,
I
hey,
was like, can't wait to play with you. Buddy. Tough one.
I'd put him in where is he now? But I understand your logic, so I'll
I have no idea who this is either.
Well,
No,
just on
it's funny,
Samarukov too, he was the best defenseman they had in the system. And he came up.
We got Clem, baby.
We got Clem. I'm going to say disaster for him. That is Phil Kemp. He played one game, 7th round pick. We'll see. I could see him getting a few games this year.
I think honestly, it's a 7th round pick who made an NHL debut. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
But also he played on the right wing.
That is true. He didn't even play his position. He was literally just a warm body.
Yes.
But 7th round pick that's in the mix, like we don't expect that.
No, totally. Just wait till we get to Vinny.
McLeod's an NHLer. I gotta
Okay.
get him up there.
Okay.
Pool party.
Disaster.
Yep.
It's a 4th overall pick.
Yeah,
No
that's a
debate.
disaster. Yeah,
No
that's
debate.
a disaster. Unfortunately, it's too bad.
Benson?
That's probably a disaster. That was a really high pick. 31st
disaster.
overall. The expectations were really high on that pick. Like,
I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, same with Yamo and Yessi and Benson. Like you could say what like injuries plagued them a lot, and that part of it. But also like
Still a disaster.
that's a disaster.
That's part of the disaster.
And the thing is too, like we'll say disaster, and a lot of this is
how their careers went.
Yeah, we'll judge it based off the player, but it is on the organization too to not be like, hey, Tyler Benson had a ton of injuries before he even came to Edmonton, and we still drafted him where we did.
Yeah.
So high expectations didn't work out.
Mainlander says your expectations are too high.
He was literally the first pick in the second round.
Yeah,
He was close to being a first.
They
it was
went
like-
off the board on this one too. Like DeBrincat was right there, and he played with McDavid, and they went with the player that they knew from their own backyard.
Because the organization was lazy back then.
And don't get me wrong, I love the idea of local boy doing the thing, but that's what makes it more of a disaster to me because my heart got attached.
Jordan Kyrou
was
drafted
gonna
after
say.
him. Alex DeBrincat there as well. Samuel Girard, Philip
Perron.
Hronek. Like this is a strong draft.
It's a very good draft in the Oilers. Yes, with the 32nd overall pick.
Lance, you can send me your list. I will take a look at your list.
I don't know if I agree with this list. Well, let us know which one you disagree with. Who have we got next? Marcus Niemelainen.
I don't know if I'd call him an NHL.
I don't know if he
No.
fits into any of these.
Yeah.
We'll see. We know what he is. He's not going to get any better.
Yeah, he's just kind of in that limbo, isn't he? Like, I don't think he's a good pick.
We know
He's
where
not
he
a-
is.
He's not a disaster, but he is a third-round pick.
We know where he is, and we can't say whatever happened to that guy when he's in the minor league system right
Yeah.
now. Franchise icon.
Yeah.
It's like I need a tier in between these three.
Damn, that's a
that
tough
says
one.
Nemo.
This shows the flaw in our
Well,
system
let's
here.
In our
luck, yeah.
preparation.
Marcus Niemelainen, 26 years old, 63rd overall pick, 43 games, between, do you know what?
We'll see.
Disaster.
Liam's harsh today. I like it.
Third round pick.
No,
I
yeah,
think it's
that's-
Guess who went? Guess who went 3 picks later?
How old is he? You said?
26. Guess who went 3 picks later to Calgary? Granted, he never played
Adam
a game for
Fox?
Adam Fox.
I don't think he would have played here either.
No,
Just a
I-
hunch.
Part of me still wants to put. We'll see if he's 26.
Yeah,
but
let's put
wouldn't-
we'll
But
see.
it wouldn't be an Edmonton.
He can still be an NHLer somewhere.
Vinny just did it. He's
Yeah.
up next.
Sure.
He
we'll
could be an
see.
NHLer on the Ducks.
Vinny, good pick.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Has to be. Has to be.
Very
yeah.
good pick. That's a
7th round pick. Got himself a contract. I think everyone's happy.
great story.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Got
story.
2 solid years out of him.
Connor McDavid. You know where to put him, man.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what to expect. We'll see.
Franchise hero.
Oh, that looks good with him at the top.
That does. I think the next one was Caleb Jones. I'm going to say good pick.
For the 4th round?
You got a 4th rounder. You managed to trade him to get Duncan Keith, who helped you out for the year. He's not an NHLer.
That does kind of
Managed to
good
trade
pick.
him for
see.
Duncan Keith.
He was
because of what
decent.
you turned him around into by the transitive property.
Yeah. I'll say good pick.
Well,
Boom, where do you come
He's
out?
more of an NHLer than
How old is he?
24,
it's 27 now.
27.
So now we'll see.
They got him
400 games in the NHL.
The draft pick they got.
Sorry, 200.
The draft pick they used on him, they got in return for Jeff Petrie. The other pick they got in that was
I'm okay with good pick.
Fighting Army said we need a meh category. Yeah,
I'd
we
call
probably
him-
do.
yeah.
We
I'd
use
call him
that
NHLer. I wouldn't call him. Yeah,
Tim Mainlander Tim pointed out 25% of 2nd round picks play a game in the NHL, 12% of 3rd round picks. Well,
yeah.
that's good logic. And with that, Caleb Jones is a 4th round pick.
So he should be a good pick.
So I think he's a good
Yeah,
pick.
he's a good pick.
You got an NHLer over 4th rounder. Ethan Bear, I would put him in the same.
Good pick. Yeah, something.
Good pick. Yeah.
He was
Well,
good for the Oilers.
He was.
Yeah,
He was.
until he got his concussion in the COVID season.
Yeah, that was
really quite
kind
good.
of it. Injuries again. Okay, who's next? Draisaitl.
Franchise hero.
Yeah.
Now it
Yeah.
looks good. Now
Yeah.
that's
The next one there. I gotta take a look at my screen. After Draisaitl, right?
No.
We just did Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a William Lagesson. NHLer,
yeah.
I guess.
Well, where is he now?
He played for Toronto.
That's a good. That's a good. Whatever happened to that guy? Right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm
You
pretty
know
sure
what? That
he's
is a
in-
good
I'm
one.
pretty sure he played in Toronto.
Nah, he's an NHLer though. Like he's one of those D-men that bounces
Yeah.
around from.
But you know what? I like what happened to that guy because
Yeah.
I don't
'Cause
know.
where is he playing? I know he was with the Leafs for a while.
If that didn't
Yeah.
have the jersey, I would have forgot that
He
played
played
for
with
the
Anaheim last year for 10 games, apparently.
Okay, so there you go. What happened to
Leafs.
that guy?
Lagesson, everybody agrees what happened to that guy.
Yeah,
And he just
Nurse-
signed with the Red Wings.
A lot of people are
Don't
saying
worry.
what happened to that guy for Nurse.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
It's just cause
do you know what? Like Nurse is a
He's a good
He's a good
pick. He's a
pick.
good pick. Come on.
But the
now.
narrative of like
He's
what
an
happened
NHLer.
to that guy isn't out of the question
yeah,
because
with Darnell.
he had 16 goals one season.
I think
And
he's an
now-
NHLer.
He's a good
He was the
pick.
7th overall pick, so the expectations are really high.
But he was like he's had good seasons.
Yeah, that's true. That's unfair.
He
We're
did have a
we're
year-
thinking about the contract.
We
too much.
thought at one point 9.25. We're like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, let's do that.
we got to divorce ourselves from the contract. Yeah, he was a good pick.
Who is this?
Is that Bogdan Yakimov?
Yeah, it is.
Whatever happened to
What happened
Bogdan
to that guy?
Yakimov?
Can we answer that question? Somebody Google. What
He's in the
happened to that
KHL. He played one game for the Oilers, but I believe this is the correct story. The Oilers tried to sign him before he was the draft. Right? Is that the guy? I'm sure this was one. Maybe someone knows and they can correct me. But the Oilers tried to sign a Russian player before the draft. He was skating with them, all this stuff.
What was it, Johnny? It was that Vladdy hockey guy. Vladdy.
Wasn't it him?
No, there was another guy. It was Vladimir something.
I can't
And
remember.
he was that tiny guy with great hands.
And yeah,
I came over and played against when they were playing against the U of A. They were playing that prospects rookie game,
Oh,
and he was just lighting guys up, and everyone's like, "Damn, they got to sign this guy, Vladdy hockey."
and then turns out they couldn't get him.
Yeah,
Yeah, funny. Hopefully someone knows in the
Yeah,
chat.
it's right here. This.
yeah, that's the guy, Vladdy. I can't remember. I can't even say that.
Let's see if I can find him.
Chekhov.
This is my favorite part about having the chat. It's like
Yeah,
whenever you
there
can't
he
do
is.
it, you're like, help me out, and they'll help you out instantly.
I
love you all.
Chakov, now 28 years old, played 4 games in the NHL for the LA Kings, 2 assists in 2022, not even that long ago. Never got drafted and has just played in Russia. It's 75 points last year in 58 games.
Bogdan Yakimov hasn't played since 2021-22.
Farewell.
So where is he now?
Who the heck is that next one?
I recognize that face.
I see him when I'm close. Oh, that's Anton Slepyshev.
Yeah, there it is.
What happened to
Yeah, what
that
happened to that guy? KHL? Do we?
Yeah, he went to
Yeah,
the KHL. He was
Seemed like
good.
he was good enough to be an
Yeah.
NHLer, but
Yeah, I thought he
I
was
liked
solid.
him.
I thought he
I
was
liked
good.
the way he played. I'd still put him in.
Yeah, we'll see. He is only like 29. Yakupov, I mean,
that's a
disaster to
unfortunately.
say the least. Juja,
Jujar's married to a
Where
girl
is
I
he
went to
now?
high school with.
that's right.
So
yes.
I know where he is.
Where?
Well, I'm gonna say what happens to that guy.
What happened?
I don't think he's signed right now, is he?
No, I don't think so. I believe he's still living in Chicago.
The Nuge, franchise hero.
Yeah, franchise. yeah.
This just gets better and better. Look at that top group
God
right
damn
there.
it. Okay, a few more left here.
Is that Musil?
David Musil, disaster.
That's a high pick.
He was the 31st overall pick.
Okay, then he has to be disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, brutal. Played 4 games, 2 assists. He again played those games, left North America. I love it when
0.5 points per game.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Former Royal King. The next one there. God damn it. Who is that one? Oh, that is Dylan Simpson. What happened to that guy?
Yeah, what happened? I thought he was last I saw he was playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets AHL affiliate.
No way, really? Oh,
Something
the
like that, yeah.
affiliate. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
that was the era of when the Oilers just drafted former Oilers Sons or Edmonton Oil Kings. And if they weren't Oil Kings, they got traded to the Oil Kings. Western Canadians only. Tobias Reeder, NHLer, 500 games.
Yeah, he was an NHLer.
Played a
Wasn't
solid
an NHLer
career.
here, but he was an
No.
NHLer elsewhere.
He wasn't. But yeah, solid career for him. I think he's playing over in Europe now. He's obviously not in the NHL anymore, but solid career. Taylor Hall. Good pick. I
Has to
mean,
be.
Was he the good pick?
Yes.
You think we go back in time that was still better than Sagan? I don't think it was a bad pick.
Yeah, I
one,
think
either
so.
one would have been a good pick.
Yeah, that's fair.
MVP.
That's true.
Yep.
He'll be
Oh,
back
yeah.
here at the
Yeah, that was
deadline,
a
no
good pick.
problem.
You're right.
Tyler Pitlick, NHLer.
Yeah, he was an NHLer.
You could also argue good pick because he has gone on to have a good
That's a high
NHL
pick, though.
career, but
I'll
for
go
what he
NHLer.
is,
NHLer.
yeah. That Martin Marincin,
Marinson, yeah.
I'm gonna
NHLer.
say what happened?
Oh, he's with
He's not in the NHL
Oh
anymore.
yeah, no, he's played in the Czech league the past 3 years and won the championship all 3 years.
There you go.
Well, there's your answer to what
more
happened.
could you ask for?
He won the American League championship with the Toronto Marlies as well. This guy's a winner.
He's a winner.
But what happened to him is where he belongs. No,
You recognize that next one in that old Oilers jersey from
I can't say.
That is, I'll give you a clue. He's a goaltender, played one game.
Oh, Dylan Wells?
No, Tyler Buns, Hans.
Tyler Buns.
He is currently working at Spruce Grove Jeep, I believe. So that's what happened to that guy.
So that's where is he now? You answered the question. There you go.
I was like Jeopardy. You give the answer first.
Did you match?
Yeah, no kidding. There's so much debate about Nurse in the chat. It's so funny. It's just like, guys, come on.
Somebody's saying
Joel
bring
said
back
I saw cards with
Marinson.
that
He has
guy.
championship pedigree.
So wait, who's this one?
I have no idea.
Dylan.
That's Dylan Wells, right?
Brandon Davidson.
Oh, that's Davey.
Since
That was a good pick. 6th-round pick.
6th-round pick. I believe he had an kind of
Yeah, how
injuries
many
kind of
games?
kept him out. Right, he played almost 200 games. 6th-round
That's a
pick.
good pick to me then.
32 years old now, playing in Sweden. 180 NHL games. The others traded him for David Desharnais.
Yeah, game winner.
They got what they needed. Did they get him back?
I could good
He
pick.
came
him.
back later,
Oh,
did he
shit.
not?
Oh, yeah. Then the others traded him for a 3rd-round
shit.
pick, which turned into Ilya Konovalov.
Of course.
Where do you want him?
Good pick.
I think
I'd
good
say
pick.
good
He's a good pick.
6th-round pick.
He's got his jersey up at the Pint.
Yeah, that is true. 2010. It's from Tabor. Good local lad.
Yeah, we got to show some love to guys like that.
Yeah. So there you go. Every single Oiler that has played a game from who they
Those are the real franchise icons.
Move these guys down a little bit.
There you go. We'll make this a YouTube video. You guys can leave your comments in there and let us know what you think of it all. But
It's always fun to do.
your tier list brought to you by Spring Financial. If you have any other ideas of what pretty average drafting from Lance, yeah, you're not wrong.
Not very good.
Any other ideas for tier list? Tyler's gone for another Wednesday, so we'll be
It's-
able to squeak one more in.
It's
before it
just
gets
like
back.
it's good summer content. Pardon my take to do their Mount Rushmore drafts.
Yeah, exactly.
Tier lists. It's good. It's good off-season content.
We
We can do anything.
will
We can do
keep.
food.
We could do best seasons. Best years. they've
Yeah,
had.
we really could.
best years that the Oilers have played.
We'll just have one that's called shit.
Decade of darkness.
Okay, we got to keep moving on here. We'll just get to our Around the League, brought to you by Millwoods Golf Course. Millwoods is the official golf partner of Oilers Nation. At Millwoods, you will find private club conditions for under $100. Greens are always immaculate. Relaxing driving range with music playing and lots of targets. A fully stocked pro shop with lots of local clothing lines. And be sure to follow them at Millwoods GC for some above average content. The gang over at Millie loves golf, but they love to laugh too. How do you book a tea time? Go to millwoodsgolfcourse.ca and click book online. Also, our Oilers Nation Golf, the Oilers Nation Open, the 7th annual one, will be there. Sign up at Nation Gear, August 30th, shotgun start. You going to go? You be
I don't know.
there? Were
Maybe.
you there last year?
No,
Oh,
I was on a trip.
I'll be missing this year because I'm on a trip.
I'll be there, but I don't think I'm playing. I'm emceeing.
It's a fun one. Millwood's a great course as
AKA
well
drinking.
to kind of get through. AKA drinking, yeah.
Hell, if I was golfing, it'd be the same story as well.
Is Tyler watching our show right now? Oh,
What
no,
else
that
would
was
he be
you.
doing?
That was you. Yes. We'll do my game next show. It's like,
It says Tyler
what the heck?
Yaremchuk. It's right there.
Yeah, we have a private chat. People are looking, and Tyler was in there. It's not him. Yeah, we'll do my game next game because we've run out of time. But just around the NHL quickly. Joe Pavelski retired. What do you make of his career? Obviously, one of the best American players to ever play. Never won a Stanley Cup. Went with the San Jose Sharks once, I believe it was in 2019. Did he go? Oh, he went with Dallas as well. Sorry, in 2020. Went with San Jose in 2016. Ends his career after playing over 1,300 games, over 1,000 points, 200 playoff games, 143 points with San Jose and Dallas. Played 1 year in the KHL too. What do you think? Great career.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Famer.
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so either.
The thing that makes the Hall of Fame good is leaving guys like this out. Like, there's a good rule to use. It's the Keith Tkachuk rule. Like, Keith Tkachuk's not in the Hall of Fame, and he scored 538 goals and 1,065 points. It's a really good NHL career, but he never won anything. No individual awards. Lots of other players scoring at the same time. Joe Pavelski, really good NHLer, but without any hardware, without any trophies, nothing at the international level really to speak of.
Yeah.
Just a Hall of very good.
I believe that his only accomplishments, besides playing the amount of games he played, made 2 All-Star games. So put whatever weight you want into that. One thing that could help him, and they spoke about this today on the Kevin Carrier's show, the big program. he's one of the greatest American players to ever do it. And I wonder if that would help him get across the line. He's not even close to a first ballot, whatever that means after Shea Weber gets in.
Yeah, that was weird. He's still under contract.
Yeah,
and they did that with Chris Pronger too when he was still up. Yeah.
Well, with Shea Weber, what did he do? Besides
No Norris Trophy, no
Olympics?
Stanley Cup.
Yeah, an Olympics. Couple of, what do you win 2 Olympic medals? I think
Lost
at least
in a cup
one.
final.
Lost in a cup final. He basically
Does he have a Norris?
the only difference. No,
No
Norris.
Wow.
Second a couple of times. Like,
It's the Olympic
great
golds
player,
that get him in, I think.
but he's not a first ballot. Second
No, I thought
ballot,
it
right?
was too fast. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So
You put a puck through a net.
Pavelski
caught his
has
shot.
Pavelski got an Olympic silver medal, NCAA championship, NHL second All-Star team,
Yeah.
like USHL Clark Cup championship.
Well, that's big. Who do you win that with?
I get your like the thing about keeping guys out is
Totally.
what makes it kind of like elite.
Yeah.
I always go back to, and like I didn't really watch him play, but when you read the numbers and stuff, why is Alexander McGillney not in?
Yeah, what's
So,
that?
like,
That's crazy.
First
if he,
Russian
if he
player to
doesn't go in,
defect, too.
I don't think
Yeah.
Pavelski goes
Yeah.
in, but that might apply to a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying
don't
right
get how
now.
McGillney's not in
Aaron
it, though.
said Pavelski is not a Hall of Famer. Lance said I wouldn't have voted for him.
I made a poll.
Oh, did you? Okay.
57% currently say no.
And also too, like that San Jose team was unbelievable, and they failed numerous times to get
Yeah.
through. Other news in the NHL: Evgeny Kuznetsov done in the NHL, going back to Russia. It's looking like, or at least the KHL. Somehow Carolina and Washington managed to get away from his contract after
Yeah.
just, what do they call it, unconventional waivers and basically a mutual part. He must be getting paid an absolute boatload going back for him to cough up that money, because I believe he was 7-8 million a
Yeah,
year.
7.5, I think. 7 point.
Whoever's signing him, maybe it's been announced, I didn't see it. They're paying him everything.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
I
joining
mean-
SKA Petersburg, right?
That's
Red
kind of what
Army
I
team, yeah.
assumed. Yeah, most of them seem to go over there. But Kuznetsov, just kind of, we all know what happened to him, of course. He started getting a little messed up. Yeah, a couple of sniffles here and there. But Stanley Cup champion, 743 games, 575 points. Kind of disappointing to see him go out this way. He should have been one of the best Russian players to play in the modern era.
Yeah, you look at how his career looked at the age of 30. 680 games played, 551 points. You're playing in the Washington Capitals with Alex Ovechkin, the best Russian player of all time. And then things just really just largely fell off a cliff ultimately. Like after he got traded to Carolina, that was one of those weird, shocking moves where you kind of wonder, this guy actually going to stay with the Carolina Hurricanes? I remember there was even speculation after that trade happened. Was he going to report to Carolina? Yeah.
Because he got sent down.
Yeah.
He was with the Hershey Bears, and that was the thing, wasn't it? It's like, was he going to go to Hershey? He went to Hershey. So credit to him for that, I suppose. But just sucks to see guys kind of do that to themselves, and what could have been with Kuznetsov. One other thing I quickly want to touch on, and I know we've gone over, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We got a lot on our plates these days.
But this thing would just die by Friday, so I want to talk about it quickly. ESPN released their top 100 professional athletes since 2000.
It's crazy how much of a stink it's making online.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about it. So they've only, I don't know how they're doing it, but they've only released up to 28 right now, I think,
Yeah.
or something like that. And Connor McDavid is 98th.
Should have put him up one more. 97.
I know,
Come
that's
on,
what I
come
thought.
on.
Ovi's like 50 something.
Always 54.
That's insane.
They are
That's high.
they are the only hockey players on the list right now. Granted, again, they're like 25, 26, something
Sid's gonna be
within
in
that reach.
Yeah, he'll be in the
So I
top
would
20,
assume Sid's got to be on there. You've got to have Kane or Taves, or probably both.
You think ESPN would put Kane because he's
I
from the US?
don't think
Yeah.
Taves will make it,
He was a captain.
but it's ESPN.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
yeah.
But like,
But then are they
3
also going to
Stanley
put
Cups?
Austin Matthews in there? US
Oh,
player?
my
Like,
goodness, they better not. But
Above Ovi, that'd be insane.
no, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way.
you can kind of go back and look through a list on your own. I went and looked, and like, to be fair to ESPN, I'm going to say this, and people are not going to be happy, but like, Connor McDavid is kind of just at this little 7-year period where he's dominated, and he's been incredible, but he hasn't won a Stanley Cup yet. And a lot of the guys on this list are champions in their own sports and multiple hard trophies. What's he at now? 3, 4?
Yeah, 3, I think.
So that's incredible. I did a little Piece of homework here, folks.
I was wondering what you were pulling out when you pulled out a notepad.
I had 5 players who I 6 players who I think Connor McDavid should be higher than on this list. So I have him up 6 more spots, and I think these players are just overrated. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is at 95. Zlatan, fantastic player, literally never won a Champions League, which is the biggest accomplishment to win in European soccer. Didn't do anything with his national team, granted from Sweden, but he's probably 95th on actually that's a bit harsh. He's probably a top 50 player since 2000 for soccer. They had him at 10th. He's not even close. Chris Paul, what are we getting here? That guy fails in the playoffs every single year.
No
McDavid
championship.
no championship. And yes, fantastic player. Maybe the best point guard during that era at the time, but nothing crazy.
Longevity, though.
Longevity, and that's the thing that's got these guys over.
Yeah.
Andy Murray was never the number 1 tennis player in the world.
Wimbledon, though, it was a big moment for the Brits.
But he wasn't, because he hates it. Andy Murray hates it.
That's so British, though.
It is.
It's so English.
Kylian Mbappe won the World Cup, but has not had a long career.
No, not long enough.
How about this one? I think Connor McDavid should be higher than Shohei Ohtani.
That's fair.
Who has never been to the
around
playoffs.
the same time.
Yeah, never was able to take his team to the playoffs. Yeah. That 2017 team, when you go back and look, had a lot of baggage. There was a lot of passengers on that team. And Thierry Henry is another one. So there you go. I did some homework.
ESPN did one of these lists years ago, and I think it was the top 100 athletes all time, and they included Secretariat in the list, the racehorse Secretariat.
Yeah,
and it's
he was up very high.
He was 25th or 30th or something. And it's how do you compare that to a person? It doesn't make any sense.
And a lot of these are based on
what
they won. And there's some I don't watch the WNBA, but when you read the accolades from some of these players, they've won 4 championships in that league and stuff, and that's a great accomplishment. So it's very difficult to
4-time champion.
Yeah, there you go. So
I don't know how you compare from sport and league. It's so hard.
I don't get it either.
Because you can make so much clickbait.
Yeah,
with this
oh,
list.
totally. And they release
people
this
love lists.
at a fantastic. I love it. We just
did
one.
30 minutes.
The show was just.
Let's make our own list.
We read Zach's list. We made our own list. Now we're reading ESPN's.
Who's number 1? Who'd they put at number 1?
They haven't done it yet.
Oh, they haven't done it yet. Who do we think it's going to be?
Tom Brady.
I thought it'd be Michael Phelps.
Tiger Woods, Tom Brady.
Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps.
So Phelps, Serena Williams.
Yeah.
So this is what they have. This is the end.
Roger Federer.
26.
Nadal. Lewis Hamilton.
Nadal. No, Djokovic would be.
No, sorry. I'm just saying in the top 25. Lewis Hamilton will probably be in there. 7-time Formula 1 champion. There'll be a bunch of guys. Is there any baseball players that have really dominated? Trout's on the list.
Trout's already in there because he's done nothing in the playoffs. So,
yeah, I don't know. Just thinking.
A-Rod?
A lot of that was in the 90s.
A-Rod's on the list.
Derek Jeter also won a bunch of championships in the 90s.
That's the thing. A lot of these guys, kind of late 90s won and then trickled in. They're great players. LeBron, obviously.
LeBron's probably going to be number 1.
LeBron's probably number 1.
Steph Curry.
Damn.
LeBron's probably number 1.
LeBron's probably number 1.
As much as I hate his guts, that's fair.
I mean, all-time point getter in NBA history, right?
Kobe's going to be up there too.
Yeah, Kobe. So you go. There won't.
There's going to be a lot of basketball.
The list comes out tomorrow. It said July 18th.
There should be 3 hockey players at a minimum. Crosby and I think Taves and Kane should both be there. They'll only take 1. I can't think. I don't think anyone from Tampa Bay.
I think it's just going to be Crosby.
I bet Kane will get on there.
Think so?
They won 3 Stanley Cups.
That's true, and he's American.
I would not be shocked if Jonathan Quick somehow snuck on that list.
Above Mike Trout.
They just put the whole Miracle on Ice team just as one at number 3.
Yeah, they might.
That's the best thing in the 2000s. Happened in the 80s. What do you mean? Who cares?
K. Waddy said Djokovic as well. Probably. I can't think of many other guys, but there's obviously tons of athletes. They'll probably. Simone Biles.
What about the hot dog eating guy?
Oh, Joey Chestnut.
They wouldn't they?
That's a good point, dude.
I mean,
he is one of the greatest athletes. So
yeah. So,
anybody from darts or that guy from bowling who said, you know what you are, I am, or whatever?
I couldn't even.
Pete Weber.
That's
get that guy in the top
Who do you think you are? I am. That's right.
There you go. Probably some Olympians with us coming up. Messi, Ronaldo, yeah, of course. Mayweather, McGregor.
The list they have that has a picture has Tiger, Simone Biles,
Tiger,
Serena Williams, LeBron, Tom Brady, Messi.
Usain Bolt.
Michael Phelps. Already said that.
Yeah. He's in the dead middle. He's the main.
Oh, that's a good one from Mainlander Tim. What about Big Al? He hits dingers.
Oh, he does it, dingers. Yeah, Big Al could be up there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap up the show with just a quick message from Betway. With Betway, you can get up to free. With Betway, you can get a free bet up to $200 if you lose your first. Create a new account, scan the QR code on the screen, and create your bonus. Redeem your bonus. Holy baloney. Place a bet, no minimum amount required. And if your bet loses, you will get a refund up to $200. You can get that money and use it to bet on your other favorite sports teams. This offer is only available outside of Ontario. They have it, folks. Well, I guess on Friday's show, we'll review the ESPN Top 25. We'll do Liam's game. The others might have more GM news. Hopefully something else happens.
Just come hang out.
Yeah. Well, we went an hour and 10, so maybe we'll just go 50 minutes on Friday. Oh, of course, we have the interview.
Yeah.
With his name's slipping. He's from Grownish. That's it. We won't tell you the name. But
yeah.
We'll tease it.
He's from Grownish. We've already done it.
Yeah. Tyler did it the other day, so that'll be on the show. So maybe we'll actually do a 30 minutes of the show, and I think that interview's around 30 minutes as well.
25.
So that'll close out the show, and then we'll go from there.
It's a great interview.
A great interview. Tyler's another one coming up with a current professional baseball player, which I believe will be from next Friday's show. So there you go. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Cooom, for joining me, and Aaron, of course. See you guys Friday.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.